Have you ever promised yourself that you'd stop scrolling late at night, quit procrastinating, eat healthier, or finally stick to a workout routine, only to find yourself doing the exact same thing a few days later? If so, you're not alone. And here's the surprising part. The problem isn't that you're lazy. It's not that you lack willpower, and it's definitely not because you're incapable of change. The real reason is much more interesting. Your brain is actually designed to love habits, even the bad ones. In fact, once a behavior becomes a habit, your brain starts treating it like a shortcut. It doesn't care whether that habit is helping you or hurting you. It only cares that it's familiar. That's why breaking bad habits can feel like swimming against a powerful current. But here's the good news. Modern neuroscience has discovered that your brain is far more adaptable than scientists once believed. Through a process called neuroplasticity, you can literally rewire your brain and replace destructive habits with healthier ones. In this video, we'll explore why your brain clings to bad habits and reveal 5 science-backed strategies to break the cycle. Let's dive in. Why your brain loves bad habits. Imagine you're driving home from work. You arrive in your driveway and suddenly realize you don't remember most of the journey. How is that possible? Because your brain loves automation. Your brain consumes an enormous amount of energy. Even though it makes up only about 2% of your body weight, it uses roughly 20% of your energy. To conserve resources, it turns repeated behaviors into automatic routines. This process happens largely in a region called the basal ganglia. When you repeat an action enough times, your brain creates a neural pathway that allows the behavior to run almost automatically. The more often you repeat it, the stronger that pathway becomes. Eventually, the behavior requires very little conscious effort. That's great when the habit is exercising or brushing your teeth, but it's also why mindlessly checking social media, overeating junk food, or procrastinating can become deeply ingrained. Your brain isn't trying to sabotage you, it's simply doing what it evolved to do: save energy by repeating familiar patterns. Now let's talk about how to change those patterns. Strategy number 1. Make the cue invisible. Most habits begin with a trigger. Scientists often describe habits as a loop consisting of 3 parts: cue, routine, reward. The cue starts the behavior. The routine is the action itself. The reward tells your brain that the behavior was worth repeating. For example, your phone buzzes. That's the cue. You check Instagram. That's the routine. You get a burst of novelty and entertainment. That's the reward. Over time, your brain learns to associate the cue with the reward. The powerful insight is this: if you remove the cue, the habit becomes much harder to perform. Research in behavioral psychology consistently shows that environment often beats willpower. People tend to think successful individuals have stronger self-control, but studies suggest that many of them simply encounter fewer temptations. Instead of fighting temptation all day, they design their environment to avoid it. Want to stop checking your phone? Keep it in another room while working. Want to eat healthier? Remove junk food from your house. Want to reduce screen time? Delete distracting apps. The less visible the cue becomes, the less frequently the habit loop activates. Don't rely on motivation, redesign your environment. Strategy number 2. Replace, don't erase. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to eliminate a habit completely, but your brain doesn't like empty spaces. When a habit disappears, the craving that drove it often remains. That's why replacement works better than removal. Think about smoking. Many smokers don't just crave nicotine, they crave stress relief. They crave the ritual. They crave the break from work. If they simply stop smoking without replacing those benefits, the brain keeps searching for them. The same principle applies to any habit. Instead of asking, "How do I stop this behavior?" ask, "What can I do instead?" Replace scrolling with reading. Replace stress eating with a short walk. Replace procrastination with a 2-minute starter task. The goal is not to destroy the habit loop. The goal is to keep the cue and reward while changing the routine. This approach aligns with how the brain naturally learns. You're creating a new pathway instead of constantly fighting the old one, and over time, the new pathway becomes stronger. Strategy number 3. Use tiny habits. Most people fail because they try to change too much at once. They decide that starting tomorrow, they'll wake up at 5 a.m., exercise for an hour, meditate, read a book, eat perfectly, and never procrastinate again. 3 days later, they're exhausted. The brain hates drastic change, but it loves consistency. This is where tiny habits become powerful. Instead of aiming for massive transformation, make the behavior almost ridiculously easy. Want to start exercising? Do 1 push-up. Want to build a reading habit? Read 1 page. Want to meditate? Do it for 1 minute. At first, this sounds too simple to matter, but neuroscience tells us that repetition is more important than intensity when forming new neural pathways. Every repetition strengthens the circuit. The brain doesn't care if the action is small. It cares that the action happens repeatedly. Tiny habits reduce resistance. They lower the psychological barrier to getting started, and once you start, you'll often do more than you planned anyway. Remember, success isn't built on heroic efforts. It's built on repeated actions. Strategy number 4, reward yourself immediately. Here's a strange fact about the human brain. It values immediate rewards far more than future rewards. This tendency is known as temporal discounting. Your brain would rather enjoy a small reward right now than wait for a larger reward later. That's why bad habits are so attractive. Junk food tastes good immediately. Social media provides instant stimulation. Procrastination offers immediate relief from discomfort. Meanwhile, the rewards of good habits are delayed. Exercise benefits arrive weeks later. Healthy eating takes time to show results. Learning a new skill requires patience. So how do we solve this problem? By making positive habits immediately rewarding. After completing a workout, track it on a calendar. After finishing a study session, allow yourself a small, enjoyable break. After completing a productive task, acknowledge the achievement. These small rewards help train the brain to associate positive behaviors with pleasure. Over time, the habit itself becomes rewarding. But in the beginning, immediate reinforcement can make all the difference. Don't wait months for motivation. Create rewards today. Strategy number 5, change your identity. This may be the most powerful strategy of all. Most people focus on changing actions, but lasting change often begins with changing identity. Consider these 2 statements. I'm trying to quit smoking, and I'm not a smoker. The difference seems small, but psychologically it's huge. The first statement suggests an ongoing struggle. The second reflects a new identity. Research shows that people are more likely to maintain behaviors that align with how they see themselves. Your brain constantly seeks consistency between actions and identity. If you believe you're an unhealthy person, unhealthy choices feel natural. If you believe you're a disciplined person, disciplined actions become easier. So instead of focusing solely on outcomes, focus on becoming the type of person who naturally performs the behavior. Don't say, I want to run a marathon. Say, I am a runner. Don't say, I want to read more books. Say, I am a reader. Every action becomes a vote for the person you want to become, and with enough votes, that identity becomes real. The secret most people miss. Here's something important. Bad habits don't disappear overnight. Even after you've built better habits, old neural pathways can remain in the brain. That's why people sometimes relapse after weeks or months of progress. When this happens, many assume they've failed. But neuroscience suggests something different. A relapse is not proof that you've lost progress. It's simply evidence that the old pathway still exists. The key is returning to the new behavior as quickly as possible. Every time you choose the healthier action, you strengthen the new pathway. Every repetition is another layer of reinforcement. The goal isn't perfection, the goal is direction. Conclusion: your brain loves bad habits because habits save energy. The more often you repeat a behavior, the more automatic it becomes. But thanks to neuroplasticity, those patterns are not permanent. You can rewire them. Remember these 5 science-backed strategies. Make the cue invisible. Replace the habit instead of erasing it. Start with tiny habits. Reward yourself immediately, and most importantly, change your identity. Small actions repeated consistently can transform your brain in ways that once seemed impossible. The habits you practice today become the person you are tomorrow. So here's a question. What's one bad habit you're ready to rewire starting today? Let us know in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more science-backed insights on productivity, psychology, and self-improvement. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.